My dear countrymen, my dear gunners of all ranks, myself, Lieutenant General Anup Singh Jamwal, Param Vishesh Seva Medal of the Vishesh Seva Medal and Bar, Vishesh Seva Medal, ADC or Siachen Glacier, my Chief of Army Staff Commendation Card. Myself, Vayo of 90 Mountain Regiment, top of the house, raised by Colonel R.P. Singh, blessed by Mrs. R.P. Singh, blessed by General and Mrs. S.B. Singh, and General and Mrs. V.P. Gupta. Wish all the gunners a very happy Gunners' Day. Ladies and gentlemen, we celebrate the Gunners' Day to commemorate the raising of the oldest artillery unit, that is 5 Bombay Mountain Battery. It was raised on 28th of September, 1827. Well, today's Gunner Day is different and special. Well, different in the sense that there's no cake cutting, there's no cheers of whiskey, brandy, beer, there's no bada khana, and there's no ram ram sahib, rum of peg, ragini, bhangra, lezium, or any of the folk songs of the troops. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind me of laying of wreath for all the Topchis in the war memorial of one of the artillery center, Nasik Road Center. Here, one proceeds in the typical fashion of moving in a buggy, laying of wreath, saluting to all those brave souls, those who sacrificed for the name, fame, and glory of the gunners. Well, the motto of we gunners is Sarvatra Izzato Iqbal, everywhere with honor and glory. We live up to this motto. And now I will say that my younger brother joined the regiment of artillery based on advice of our father. Our father, Major Mahatma Singh from J&K Bodyguard Cavalry. He was a J&K Forces officer. He attended courses with Britishers, with the Indian Army officers like JC, Senior Command, etc. His observation was that he found gunner officers the best. So his advice was, if you want to be a good officer, join artillery, and if you want to be a general, join infantry. We selected, both of us, I first and then Kuldeep later on, to join the gunners. This is how we came into the gunners. So our choice to be good officers was not bad. Me and my younger brother, Lieutenant General Kuldeep Singh Jamwal, we both rose to the rank of Lieutenant General by grace of God in the gunners. Ladies and gentlemen, word gunner means professional. He is accountable and responsible for all his actions. He is committed to deliver at the right time, right place, and right amount of warhead at the target. Well, the time on target, which is a very important term, is best understood by a gunner, because here the safety of troops is involved as a crux, safety of troops. Then it's a coordination of fire plan with the move plan. And in fact, I would say it is crux of winning of the battle. Well, as you know, our colors are our guns. We salute our guns. We worship our guns before firing. And we protect our guns to best of our ability, by all means. And in this case, the best example which I can cite to you is of the last Victoria Cross winner, Honorary Captain Anup Singh. Well, the scenario is like this. It is World War II, Eastern Sector. Two companies of Japanese raided a gun position of 3.7-inch howitzer. First, the gunners engaged them by direct shooting, and then there was hand-to-hand fight. The Japanese were able to overrun the gun position and capture that area. But soon, 2 hours after, was a counterattack by the Indian forces, and the gun position was taken back. Havildar Anup Singh was found unconscious on his gun, with 10 Japanese lying dead around the gun. The gun was totally intact. So this was how he had killed those 10 Japanese with his handspike. I was fortunate to attend his funeral as Adjutant General of the Indian Army in his native village, Haryana. I laid the wreath. The military attaché of UK High Commission also laid the wreath, and also the Chief Minister of Haryana, Mr. Huda. Now, next point which I would like to emphasize to you is the gunners have been a battle-winning factor. Babur, the first Mughal king, he was conqueror against Ibrahim Lodi in the first battle of Panipat. All odds were against him. It is the superior employment of his guns that he could win this battle, first battle of Panipat in 1526. The second example of winning of the battle, that is, gunners being the battle-winning factor, I'll talk of Vijay. Well, those who have seen those heights, very difficult heights. I have been an OP officer there and also commanded a regiment there. Very difficult heights to capture. It was a preponderance of artillery fire with bi-buffers and 105 mm guns firing high angle, engaging targets on the reverse slope. This is how we could win and capture those heights from Pakistanis. The next example is the Battle of Billafondla, where my own regiment was involved. Pakistanis, they ventured to capture Ashok Post on night of 22nd, 23rd September. It was again the preponderance of artillery fire, which didn't permit those people to reach the objective. 105 mm guns, our guns, firing airburst ammunition from Echo DZ, and from the base camp 130 mediums and 105 mm guns of my regiment. They fired HE to engage the enemy, and it was Zoo 23 firing in direct shoot from Billafondla. This is how the Battle of Bilaforda was won. The enemy could not reach the objective because of the artillery fire, and more so especially air-burst fire, which is the most effective on troops in open in a snow-bound area. One thing happened here. 130 mm guns, they're firing so intense and so continuous that a barrel turned red hot in one of the guns. The gun barrel busted and whole detachment was written off. So this calls for certain precautions and certain measures. Here, I would like to share my experience with you and give some advice. Things may sound very mundane to you, but they're very important. Like we saw, there was a barrel burst in Battle of Bilaforda, and the whole detachment got killed. So there is a need for rotation of the guns. There's a need for resting of the guns should they become red hot and there's a barrel burst or a muzzle burst. Follow the drills. Next is change around. There are going to be casualties. You won't have full detachments available. So your gun drills, we have a drill of change around, each one taking on duties of others. And also ability to work with the reduced detachments. Then all people present in the gun position should be able to fire the guns in emergency. So train everyone. No one is spare and extra. Next is the need of maintenance and serviceability of the guns. Well, the guns have been deployed since number of days, number of months. We tend to overlook the serviceability part of it. There is essential requirement of certain amount of oils and lubricants. See that your maintenance and serviceability is attended to. We can't afford to be led on in the face of enemy. Next, remember the famous saying, keep your powder dry. World War I, World War II. But here, we must ensure our ammunition is taken care of, maintained properly, preserved properly, so that it doesn't lose its efficacy, lethality, and there are no accidents. Another important point which I want to touch is your rest and relief. We need not to be all working all the time. Make a duty roster and work accordingly. Train people to take on the duties. That's important for the freshness of the troops to have the sustained operations and sustained firepower, fire support being given. Now, not forgetting, Sarvatra Izzato Iqbal. We have to live up to the traditions, to the motto of the Regiment of Artillery. And we have to be winning, battle-winning factors for our infantry, for our armor, for our Indian Army. So do that. क्योंकि हम वो नहीं जो हवा के साथ चलते हैं, हम वो है जो हवा का रुख बदलते हैं. जब हवाएं करेगी रोशनी का फैसला, वही चिराग जल पाएंगे जो तूफान में जलना सीखे. Don't forget हम वो चिराग हैं, वो चिराग है जो तूफान में जलना सीखा है हमने. Live up to that. And finally, my best wishes to all the gunners deployed on the borders. Best of shooting, and Vijay Bhavo. Victory is yours. There is no doubt about it. I also take this opportunity of wishing best of everything, best wishes to the families those who are separated, and looking after themselves, looking after the children. Look after yourself. God bless you. Jai Topchi, Jai Hind.